Hello you guys, this is Jessica from my Diamond and Sticks YouTube channel. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. I just wanted to make a short video updating you all about the tornadoes and stuff and the weather that happened here in Kentucky. It actually happened about 2 hours away from me. It was over in central Kentucky, more towards western Kentucky. It was over in Pulaski County or Somerset and Laurel County or London, and I think through Corbin and maybe through Williamsburg a little bit. All those nice areas, those are nice areas that I would recommend people to live at, and I know a lot of people that's moved there. My best friend growing up from high school, she moved there and she loves it there and she is safe. I don't really think that she had any damage, but I could be wrong. I think her and her family stayed in a shelter, and I think that everybody's alright that I knew like that or whatever. But there was, I think the last time I checked, it was up to like 23 people who had passed away during the storms just in Kentucky. So in all those areas like Pulaski County or Somerset or Laurel County or London or Williamsburg or Corbin, all those areas right through there. I think there was about 23 people who passed away, unfortunately, from the casualties of the storms, the tornadoes and stuff that happened. And there was, I think, 2 confirmed tornadoes that happened in well, they went on a line, like, or a scar, kind of like, they created like a scar from Somerset to Laurel County or London. And I think they were side by side, the tornadoes were, and there were 2 of them, and I'm not really sure. I think they went for like 55 miles for 2 hours. So I don't know what the wind speed was or nothing. So yeah, it was pretty bad. And I don't know, the last time I checked, all together, and that's considering like Missouri and all those other states that was affected from the storms and tornadoes. But I think there was 33 casualties or fatalities, or I can't say that word, fatality or fatalities or whatever, from the storm, the tornadoes and stuff that happened. But most of them were over here in Kentucky. And like I said, I live about 2 hours away, or an hour and a half, or 2 hours away from like Laurel County and London and Somerset and all those places. So I'm as far as you can get over here on the Virginia border. I'm like as far east and as far, well, pretty much as far south as you can get on the Kentucky-Virginia border. I mean, Harlan County is like my next door neighbor, and they're more south than we are, but I mean, we're like side by side. So, and we're like right in between of Harlan County and Pike County. Y'all see it on this tree right here that I'm filming. I'll go over here closer to it. Do y'all see those little blooms and stuff on it? I don't know if y'all can see it or not. I don't know what kind of tree that is or bush that is, but it's huge. I started to say, but I was wrong. I was looking at the blooms. I wasn't looking at the leaves on it or whatever. There's some over here too. But I started to say, like, whenever you see like on a tree and you see it's like, say it's like it's leaves or something like this right here. If you see like the leaves turned up on a tree like that and it's blowing in the wind, that's how you know there's getting ready to be a huge storm getting ready to come. I think we will get rain, even though the skies look pretty clear and stuff. But I don't think we'll get a lot of rain. At first I thought we was going to get a lot of rain just like by looking at those leaves and stuff. But that's not the leaves, that's the blossoms and stuff, because you can see it on the ground there laying of that tree and stuff there. But anyways, the ground is saturated still and wet. My garbage man ran today, took some of my trash. I got more trash on my porch though to take out. And they unfortunately didn't fix the water. I've been without water for like 4 or 5 days now, and it sucks. I could have told you all that whenever we went through that July flood of 2022. Water was the most important thing. You know, power wasn't as important as what water is, and it sucks not having water. So it's totally, because you use water for everything, not just to eat or drink or whatever and cook with, but you use it to bathe with, you use it to clean your house with, you use it to wash your clothes with. And so not having water sucks. Yeah, there's another one of those trees just like that, or big bushes or whatever they are, just like that one of the neighbors here. It looks like they're honeysuckles starting to bloom out too over on this fence line right here. I've actually made off of their honeysuckle here before. I made honeysuckle jelly out of it before a few years back, but I didn't like it. I don't know, I just didn't like it. But that's what honeysuckle looks like. I love the smell of honeysuckle. It smells so good. Love the smell of it. It has a really fragrant smell to it. I don't know what this little thing is. The yellow ones smell more fragrant than what the white ones do. But yeah, I made honeysuckle jelly a few years ago off of that, off of my neighbor's. He let me, and I did not like it at all. I thought that was terrible. But now I made rose jelly off of that. You can't see it, but that end of my mom's trailer, there's a little rose bush out there, and I made rose jelly off of it. And that was actually pretty daggone good tasting. I actually liked it, I think, better, rose jelly like that off of her roses from the neighbors that used to grow there. They're real bright looking red color. They're not like this one here. They're not like a burgundy. But anyways, I think I liked it better than what I like even strawberry jelly. That rose jelly off of the neighbors and stuff there. Goes UPS, man. There's one of my roses blooming out. Oh, this wet flower bed is way overgrown. The pond looks dingy and dirty looking where it's been raining. The waters went down more though, because it was up to the bottom part of that top of that deck or whatever, that platform. I don't know what this right here thing is called. I really don't even remember buying it and planting it, to be honest. I might have bought that from the farmer's market off of someone. I can't remember for sure. It just seems like my neighbors mowed into my hostas that ain't been planted in that little thing. Seems like the irises don't last. Nothing really lasts that long. Flowers. The only thing that really lasts is roses. I've had roses last even while it's snowing. While snow's been pouring down on the ground. And they last real pretty too in the fall and stuff. But, and hostas will last all seasons long. Up until, you know, a frost or whatever in the wintertime. But it just seems like most flowers don't last that long. They're only here for a short span, short season. I still haven't been able to afford to get paint or stain to finish staining that deck. And like I said, they didn't fix my water. I don't know what's going on with it. I don't think that they know either. And so it's just another mess as usual, living in this house. Or hell, as I like to call it and think of it. I hate living here. I know a lot of y'all that watch my videos are like, oh, it's so beautiful or whatever, and I can understand it or whatever. And it's not because I'm not grateful that I don't have a roof over my head or nothing like that. It's just that I've lived here all my daggone life, and I know how it is here, and it sucks. And it especially sucks if you're like me and you're the black sheep of your family, your entire family, you're the black sheep, and you get called every name ever known to man under the sun and treated like crap, and your children get treated like crap. You literally live in crap, and you have to deal with crap. So it's not fun. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, and that's the truth. I just wish people would leave me alone. You see up there in my aunt's house, that rose bush next to hers, how bright and red and vibrant looking it looks, or whatever. That's what the rose bush that's next to my mom's trailer. Not as pretty as that one, but that's what it kind of looks like, and that's what I used to make jelly out of a few years ago, rose jelly. And it was, like I said, I think it tasted better than what I think strawberry jelly tastes like. It's that one next to her house over there. But that red one there. But see how mine are not like that at all. Mine are more like a dark burgundy color. They're not as pretty at all. This ground, you just can't hardly get stuff to grow good in it. It's really like a swamp, and also it's like clay water, so it sucks. And then over here I got blueberries. They're starting to make little things on the blueberry bush here. You can kind of see them. The other ones I planted last year, the blueberry bushes, they didn't make it because I had one here and I had one in this corner. Only one that made it is that one. Even over through here, these other ones didn't make it. I had like, I think 2 or 3 right here. They didn't make it. That's the only one that made it. That one over there at that corner. That's the dead part from the blueberry bush. And that's my brother's pressure washer. My brother is in jail right now. I haven't made a video or told y'all about that, but he's in jail right now, and he'll probably be there for a while. I think what happened, now I'm not positive, but I think he went in because his daughter went and filed whatever that law's called. I think it's called a Michelle's law, but I could be wrong, so don't quote me, in the state of Kentucky. And it's like a law, like if you got a rug addict, like my brother, and they thought he was back on rugs, and if it's somebody like that, supposedly it's to prevent self-harming themselves or something with the rugs. And so I guess that's what that law's for. I think it's called a Michelle's law or something. And his daughter, that's the same age as my oldest daughter, she's going to college to be a therapist. And so anyways, and she just recently moved over here. Well, she moved over here back last September, and from Big Stone Gap, Virginia. So she moved over here, and she, I guess, wanted to go see if the new judge, because you know all that stuff that happened last September with the Mickey Steins and Judge Mullins and all that. They got a new judge, and I don't know him or nothing, but he's a younger guy. I think he lives up there around Neon or something. Has like a young family. But anyways, he must have took over Judge Mullins' job, and so he's the one that she went and tried to get a petition against my brother and with my mom, is what I heard, because I'm not speaking to him. But anyways, preventing him from, I guess, getting too bad into the rugs like he always does or whatever. It's just a matter of time. That's how he's always been all his adult life. And I've had years ago, and I know that my parents have too, people around here in this county. He's real well known, my brother is, and they used to say he was the worst rug addict around here. And so, anyways, he was getting real back onto him and stuff. And that last month here, when he was pressure washing my house and stuff, he didn't ask me for no money, to be honest, or nothing like that. He said he was just over here to help pressure wash my house and stuff, because my youngest daughter wanted it done. And I'm sure he would have took money if I had it to give to him, but I didn't have it to give to him anyways. But he was out of work because he'd actually gotten out of jail or prison or rehab or something back in like a week or something, or a few days after that flood happened in July of 2022. And then he ended up just taking like little in and odd jobs, or whatever you want to call it, just like mowing grass for different people, working on different things for different people, and just little odd and end type jobs. And then about a year or so ago, my cousin, that's my uncle's boy that lives next door to me here, my dad's brother, his son, he only has one child. Anyways, he got him a job with, I don't know what that's called, but it's heating and plumbing. Or not heating and plumbing, but heating and cooling. They call it something with an H. I forgot the name of it. But anyways, he got him a job with that, doing like his, I guess you call it your grunt type work, the type work that, you know, usually the owners or the boss or the CEO don't want to do. You know, like getting up dirty and getting up underneath the house and stuff like that. And so he hired him on for that, but he was making good money because he was making, for around here, he was making good money. He was making like, I think he was making around about $200 a day doing that kind of work. I could be wrong. Either way, though, that was good money, though, because, like, I'm comparing it to my ex. My daughters, the dad of my daughters, and he's worked his job, which he didn't graduate school, and he dropped out of school back when you was allowed to, and he never did get his GED. And so he's had other jobs, but this is the job that he's been working for 21 years now, as old as our oldest daughter, because he started working that job whenever I was in the hospital giving birth to her. And someone helped him get that job. And he'll never get another job. I'm just being honest. It's my ex I'm talking about. But anyways, he only makes like maybe about $230 a week at his job. And so I think he's either up to like $10.50 or $11 an hour now, but he's been there for 21 years. And basically what my ex does is he works for a pharmacist, the only pharmacist, well, I shouldn't say the only, but he works for a little pharmacist shop around here in Letcher County where we live at. And I've showed it to you all before, but I didn't say he worked there. But he works at that little pharmacist shop. But he does like janitorial basic work, and he's also the night watchman for that pharmacy. So that's what kind of work he does. But he's basically like a janitor and stuff, and he's been doing that for 21 years. And you know, now that we're older, and I'm talking about my ex too, now that we're older and fat and disabled, or I'm disabled, he's pretty close to it though. I'm not holding it for him or nothing. It's just that he's let himself go, and he's had injuries and stuff over the years, and so he's pretty disabled considered. But anyways, and also he's real overweight, which I'm overweight too. Ain't got no right to talk about nobody or nothing like that. But that's basically what he does, is janitorial work, and he night watches a little bit or whatever when he's there for the pharmacy and stuff. So that's what his job is. And like I said, he gets about either $10.50 or $11 an hour is what he makes. And he only works for a few hours during the week, and he works Monday through Friday, and he works at nighttime. So, but it's just like around here, it doesn't really matter if you got any job around here and you're able to work. You're lucky to have a job around here, because there's basically no jobs. And if you do get a job, most of the time, especially back whenever I was working and stuff, it's kind of cleanish around here. You have to know somebody, or somebody has to give you a name to get you on at a job. You know, around here, unfortunately, your reputation means everything. So if you don't have that going for you, you ain't gonna have nothing going for you. So once you get your reputation stained around here, it's really hard to come out from that. Ooh, sorry, I might have to spit while I'm on recording with you guys. I'm getting so much drainage and stuff. I know this is gross, but it's the truth. Getting so much drainage and stuff, sinus drainage and stuff from my allergies and stuff going on. I guess because of all these changes in weather and stuff too. But so anyways, he's lucky to make like $230 some, if that, a week. He does get paid weekly, my ex does. And so that's how much he makes around here. And like I said, he's been doing that job as long as our oldest daughter, and she's 21. So it's just I don't know. There's not really a whole lot of paying jobs around here. And our minimum wage around here is not like, it's like $7.25 or $7.15. It's not based on like the nation's national minimum wage or anything like that. And so, because I know people who work at the Dollar Tree, they still they make minimum wage, whatever it is, $7.15 or $7.25 or whatever it is, starting off. There's not very many jobs. There is some fast food jobs that pays like $11 and something or 10 something starting off, and I think even Walmart does it. But it's just getting on them jobs too around here. You got to think you're living in a rural place where pretty much everybody knows of somebody anyways. Even if you don't know them, they probably know of you in some way or shape or form. And probably honestly like me, because I'm considered older generation now. I'm like 43. And most of the people around here are probably kin to me in some shape or form. Somewhere down the line they're kin to me, or they know my family members or something. So everybody knows of something of somebody living around here. I don't know what the population is or nothing here in the county I live in, for sure. I'm not real positive. I'm just going to assume it's probably about like maybe 50,000 people or under 50,000 people. I'm really not sure. I think the census said for this county a few years back, supposedly, no, I didn't think it was like this, but supposedly what the census says, the last census that was taken for Letcher County, the age group is supposedly like my age group, like 44, which I'm 43, but 44 is like the highest age group range in the population, supposedly. But I don't know about that. I don't hardly ever see anybody that I went to school with or anyone my age, so I don't know about that census stuff. And then two, most of the time, it's the people, this is what you call, or I've always thought of this, especially ever since I got older and out of high school. This place is like a retirement community. It's like older people. It's like baby boomers and stuff. That's what mostly you see out and running around this place is baby boomers, older people and stuff. And they're the ones too that live on their retirement, and they have extra incomes and stuff because they can on top of it and stuff too. I'm sorry if a lot of y'all are like older people who watch my channel or whatever. I'm just being honest, and you can go ahead and unsubscribe to me or whatever, but I'm just not a real big baby boomer fan. I've not had a lot of good experiences with people. I used to, when I grew up, I used to like older people and stuff that's older than me. And I know we're privileged or lucky or blessed if we live to get old. But I'm just saying, the baby boomers that I have to deal with that live next to me, like my parents and stuff, I don't have anything for them. I ain't got nothing for them. Never will. And stuff. So I don't mess with people like that in that age range. Usually the baby boomers. Because they're assholes in my opinion. And I know I shouldn't say stuff like that. Sorry on YouTube, but it's just the truth. And I'm trying my best not to cuss and stuff like that for YouTube and also for my soul or whatever. But sometimes I get a little bit mad, a little bit heated, a little bit angry on certain things. So I'm sorry. Let one slip every now and then. But back to talking about the storms and stuff and the tornadoes and stuff that happen in Kentucky. There's a lot of people around here actually. They will drive 2 or 3 hours away every day just to go to places like that in central Kentucky to work. I know people who go to Somerset and that don't just live there, but they go there every day to drive to work. I know people who drive to Lexington, Kentucky every day that goes there to work and stuff, but they can't live in Lexington, Kentucky because ever since like the pandemic, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word or not on YouTube, but anyways, ever since then, the rents, even in areas like here in Kentucky, the rents have gotten so high, people can't afford it. Not even with like 2 or 3 people living in like an apartment together or something in the cities, like the major cities of Kentucky. People can't afford that. And so, and even like in the major cities, even though their wages are better and stuff around here than what's around here in Letcher County, they're still not that great. That's what I'm saying. I know people that can't afford to live on their own that live here in Letcher County with someone, and they drive to Lexington, Kentucky every single day for work because they can't afford that. And so that's what I'm saying. It's a real hard life around here. And I'm not going to do a RACE video today or talk about that today, but I do plan on doing that. I'm going to make it in such a way that I don't get, you know, once I ever do get monetized or whatever, I don't get demonetized for it or my videos taken down, because I feel like that's something that people really need to understand and talk about without being that way and stuff. And a lot of people are curious. I mean, we're curious human beings, and there's nothing wrong with that or whatever. But people do need to know stuff like that, you know, especially too if you're trying to move into like certain areas and stuff. You need to know a little bit about stuff like that. Or I think you do. Look at how bad my legs are. My cats are tearing me all to pieces, scratching me up, and no, I haven't been shaving. But anyways, and also I got bug bites, mosquitoes and stuff on me. But these cats are tearing into me like crazy here lately. That's the little bitty ones that done that. That's the kittens. They're getting wild. They like to horseplay and fight with each other and stuff. But no, like I said, there's a lot more job opportunities away from here in other parts of Kentucky than what there is here in, obviously, Eastern Kentucky. Pretty much there's nothing here in Eastern Kentucky. Not even back whenever I was working and able to work. There's not no jobs or nothing, even back then. And they've shut a ton of stuff down since I was able to work and was working and stuff. But a lot of things have just gone away and keep going away, because it seems like as soon as they put something in, and it's been like this on and off all my life or whatever. But people around here do not value anything either. They don't take care. I know I might get a lot of hate on this, but it's just the truth, and it's my perception of things or whatever, and I could give a crap less what anybody says or thinks or whatever. But people around here that grew up around here, they do not care. They act like rug addicts, even if they're not on rugs. They don't cherish or take care or take pride in stuff, like taking care of stuff. For instance, like back a few years ago, they built them overlook things before up on Pine Mountain here in Letcher County. They're just like pieces of wood, like a deck or something that overlooks the mountains and stuff. And as soon as they put them up, as soon as they quit taking their pictures, quit putting it on the local news stations and all that, quit filming and stuff, as soon as they left, as soon as some of the locals came, I don't know who it was or nothing like that, but because I don't partake in stuff like that, but somebody come up there and started spray painting all kinds of graffiti and nonsense and stuff all over it as soon as they put them up. And people tried to light fires and stuff like that, trying to burn them down. People's even took like whatever they could to them, like rocks or I don't know, hammers or whatever they had on hand, and tried to just hit them and destroy them as soon as they build them. So I can kind of see why people that does have money never did invest in stuff like that. And to the thing with rug addicts, and I don't care who it is. Like I said, I got a sibling, and he's been called the worst rug addict there was in this county several times. Maybe not this time, but he has several times in the past or whatever. And anyways, so I don't got no empathy or sympathy, and you can judge me however. Call me evil, I don't care. It ain't like I ain't been called it before. and it won't be the first and won't be the last. But anyways, and nobody won't change my point of view. But anyways, people like that, and it's not just like the most recent rugs or whatever that's going around. It's ever since it's been any kind of addiction, whether it's been certain types of rugs, the math or whatever, or the stuff that starts with the letter F or whatever, supposedly, that's gone around. And before that, it was the stuff that was kind of sounded like an oxymoron or whatever. And then before that, you got your addictions to your drinking stuff. I guess I'm allowed to say that. And then before that, you got your addictions to your, what people think is a gateway of grass, if you know what I'm talking about. And so none of that stuff never affected me, and so I don't care. But anyways, that's why I don't blame people with the money around here, your multimillionaires and stuff, and there ain't that many of them, and we all know who they are. But those people like that, for not investing in stuff over the years. If there was any peak time that anybody like that with money, of the big wigs or the multimillionaires around here that did have money, should have invested in money, that would have been over like 40 some years ago, when the coal mine, even before my time, even when the coal mines was like booming, you know, because if they had done it then, this place right here could have been just as nice, if not better, than East Tennessee, like around Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, Sevierville, and all them places. Because back then, even what little bit of time period, whenever I was a young adult and stuff, and the coal mines was still going up around here a little bit and stuff, you know, pretty good. People would talk about it all the time. It wasn't nothing for people like that around here, that like their wives or husbands or whatever that did work in the mines. They would go every single weekend to Tennessee, and I'm sure people still do it and stuff. Some people does anyways. But and rent a cabin or whatever to get away from here. They could have made cabins and stuff like that right here. You know, these mountains are actually bigger than the ones. They might not be as pretty, but they're just as big, if not bigger. These mountains are right here, is what they got in Tennessee. And stuff like the Smoky Mountains. These mountains are bigger than the Smoky Mountains right here. But they don't have necessarily that smoky look to them or whatever. But people could have made money 40 some years ago, but nobody was smart enough or didn't want to do it and through with it. And I'm sure that's why like people that had money probably didn't do it. They probably seen that there was no point to it even back then, you know. So I don't know, but that's just my opinion, obviously, or whatever. And it ain't never gonna happen, because every time that they try to put something in, it don't work out. And every time that they get money or whatever kind of grants, or I don't know how it works, so we'll just say allegedly, but all their little money crooked stuff, allegedly or whatever, seems to always go in whoever's in charge of its pockets, the bigwigs' pockets, and the residents and stuff around here never see nothing out of it. So I'll just say allegedly, but nobody's stupid when it comes to that stuff around here. That's the way it works and stuff. But yeah, I know a lot, and I would still say if you had to live in Kentucky, even after these tornadoes and stuff, I would still say like central Kentucky, where those tornadoes happen, those are still prime locations on living at and stuff, even though unfortunately those tornadoes happen there. But if you have to and you can, I would still recommend you to live in those places. Barberville is a very, very nice place to live at in Kentucky, and it's a really small town. It's like right next door to Manchester and Laurel County, London, where the tornadoes happen. It's a itty bitty, like little, kind of looks like a little tiny Hallmark town. It's real pretty, and they got a little college, real nice college and stuff there. But if you had to live in Kentucky, I would still recommend you to live in those places. I know it's unfortunate, like the tornadoes and stuff happen, but there's good and bad to everything. And another thing, one of the reasons too, like with my friend and stuff, why she moved to Somerset, well, she moved because of the jobs and the more opportunities, the better schools, and she was raising young children. But also, like, okay, you look around here. I know it's beautiful. I'm not saying that. And there's different strokes for different folks. But at the same time, like, you grow up around these mountains all your life and stuff. Some people, I'm not saying me necessarily. Yeah, I want to be out of this house. I want to be out of this community. I want to be out of this area. But I'm not saying I want to be out of these mountains. But a lot of people will want to move out of these mountains if they've grown up in these mountains all their lives and stuff. Because when you're looking out like a view, I'm not saying me, I don't feel like this, but I understand the way some people feel. I think this is what happened to my friend too, a little bit. It's just like, okay, where those tornadoes happened and stuff, whenever you're this is called the valley, here where these mountains are, especially like where my house is and stuff. Okay, if you're looking like in Somerset, Corbin, Laurel County, and all them places, like you're looking straight out, you're not going to see these hillsides and these mountains. You might see a few like little trees or something like that. You're not even going to see the same kind of trees. In places like that, it's kind of like how it is when you're going down south. You're going to see mostly pine trees, and I love pine trees. But you're going to see mostly like pine trees instead of all these other kind of little trees mixed in here and stuff. But most of the time around here, you don't see that many pine trees. If you do see pine trees like over there, it's because somebody planted the pine trees. Excuse me, more than likely. That's the reason why you're going to be seeing them. Or like right here, because my neighbor planted that pine tree. It's just, I don't know what it is, but it's just they don't really grow around here that much or nothing. But you will see those pine trees. I mean, you'll see them all over the place. Besides, like in eastern Kentucky, you'll see them like down south. I've seen them out west before. They grow a lot up north and stuff. But you see more openness, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like in central Kentucky and especially western Kentucky, it's like flat looking plains with mixed in trees, but you do see some hillsides like that. Like I said before in a different video and stuff, the hillsides, they're not nothing like this, of course, like the mountains or nothing, but the little hills and stuff that you see out there, and they are covered and stuff with like forest and stuff. You'll see those probably end probably around like Barberville and Manchester on into Laurel County. And Laurel County, even though that's where one of the tornadoes hit or whatever, the northern part, like that's connected to Manchester on that highway there, that major highway, there is some prime property, like you're going up towards the main highway, like towards Richmond, Kentucky and stuff. There's some, like, it looks like kind of like a little house on a prairie. There's some rolling fields with like little tiny hillsides of like forest looking mountains and stuff. I've always loved Laurel County, London, Kentucky. I love it. And there's a place called, what is the name of it? I think it's called, starts with an E, I'm pretty sure, or it might be L. I think it's called either Edie or Lily in London, Kentucky. That place right there is a very, very little prime speck of property area, and it's near like a place where they have like a community center in the area, and they have like a little, and it's like little rolling valleys is what it's got, like big huge dips, not like flat like this. It's like big huge dips of rolling valleys and stuff. I don't know how to explain it to you, but it's beautiful there. It's beautiful here too. I mean, it's just that I think my friend too got tired of it. Mostly they moved because of their children were young, and her husband got offered, she works too, but anyways, her husband got offered a better paying job, and so that's why they mainly moved at the time. But there is more opportunities in places like that, educational for your young children and stuff like that, you know. But if you're just like looking off, you know, like how it looks like everything's covered here. If you're looking at a place like that, and I mean, I'm into it, I wouldn't want to live there full time. It's like, for me, it's like me going to the beach or the ocean. Oh, I love the beach. I love the ocean. I love to swim. But I like to just take vacations and not stay long periods of times. Like, after a few days usually with me, which I'm a quiet duck, but after a few days I'm somewhere, I'm ready to come back, even back to my home, my house, whatever you want to call it. You know, I get tired of it real easy. But I'm more like a homebody, I guess you could say. But I do like to take trips and vacations. I just don't like to do it for like long periods of time or nothing like that. Like, I probably wouldn't, unless if it was a tropical island or like someplace in the Bahamas or something like that. I probably wouldn't, in other words, enjoy going to like a lot of people do around here. Like, they'll take a vacation to like Myrtle Beach and stuff. That's a real big, common getaway beach for people in these areas where they like to go to. But they'll go there for like 2 weeks. I would not want to do that, even if I had all kinds of money, and didn't have to worry about money or whatever. I got a bee. I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but it's trying to sting me. Anyways, a sweat bee, I guess. But I'm not one of those type of people where I would be like, out to be like, I want to go to Myrtle Beach for 2 weeks and spend my whole vacation there. No, that's not the type of person I am. Or like a lot of people from these areas in eastern Kentucky and stuff, they'll want to go to like Tennessee. Now, I do love Tennessee, don't get me wrong, I love Tennessee. To me, Tennessee always feels like home, and I would move there if it was at all possible, but it's not possible, and it's never going to be possible for my life in my lifetime. Because once you have children, no matter what, everything changes. So that's not going to be at all possible for me in my lifestyle. But I'm always going to live here in eastern Kentucky. I just wish I was in a different area, a different location of eastern Kentucky. But anyways, I love East Tennessee. That feels like home to me, even more than my house does or whatever. I just love East Tennessee. And a lot of people from around here in eastern Kentucky, I mean, heck, even my worst enemy or one of my worst enemies would say the same thing. East Tennessee feels like home to a lot of people here in eastern Kentucky. And a lot of people like me, for other reasons or circumstances, they would too. Like I said, even my worst enemy, if it was left up to them, they would move tomorrow to East Tennessee, because it's so nice there, and it feels just like home. You know, it's just such a nice place and such a nice feeling. You know, there's good and bad to everything in life and everywhere in life, but that Eastern Tennessee just feels like home. I would love to live in like Sevierville, Tennessee. I would love if I had the money to have like a cabin in Sevierville, Tennessee. But another thing that's good, like I was saying about Central Kentucky, and that's why I keep on pushing off and trying to say, is just like as you're looking out over flat plains and stuff for the most part. Like you have a view, is what I'm trying to say. Like it's open skies and stuff, and open land. But the difference is on days that it's not storming out there, you got an even more beautiful view. I know it's in the eye, beauty's in the eye, the beholder perception or whatever, but even in my opinion, you got more beautiful views out there in Central Kentucky than what you got here, even that looking off the mountaintop or whatever, because it's all wide looking and the sky's all beautiful different colors, and just a real gorgeous view out there in Central Kentucky, like when the sun sets and stuff. And you're not like looking at mountains, and I know this is beautiful too. I'm not saying it's not. It's just that, but like I was saying about me going on vacations and stuff too, at the same time, even though it's more beautiful or whatever, no matter what, I would still want to go to those places. It's just like me going without West or somewhere. I'm just saying, for instance, like if I didn't have children, which obviously I do, but and I could do whatever I wanted to or whatever, move to wherever I wanted to, I still wouldn't choose to move out west, even though I think I haven't been out west since I was young, like 14 years old. Me and my family, we took like 2 weeks of just driving out west. I didn't see every state, but I seen a lot, but I mostly just drove through them. But yes, I do think the West Coast is more beautiful. I think, I mean, it's beautiful out here too. All of God's country is beautiful. All of God's canvases is gorgeous. I'm not saying that. It's just that my perception of things, being out west and stuff, is more beautiful than what it is out here in the East Coast or Eastern Kentucky or whatever, out in the Appalachian Mountains or whatever. But I wouldn't want to live out there for all kinds of other reasons and stuff. But even if I didn't have children, even if I could pick up and move or whatever, any chance I got, I still wouldn't choose to live out west. Now that I'm older, like whenever I was younger, I used to dream of living out in Montana for whatever reasons. But now, and I've never visited Montana. That's one of the states. I haven't visited a whole lot of the northern states. But I'd still like to go visit it. But I wouldn't want to live out there. And since I've gotten older and stuff, I think even if I didn't have children, let's just say, I mean, obviously I want children or whatever, but, and I have children, but, or nothing to tie me back, in other words, or whatever. I would choose to move down south. I would choose to either move to Tennessee or possibly Alabama, probably like southern Alabama, or North Carolina, like the inner part of North Carolina, like your southern southern, I guess, western side of North Carolina. Same thing with South Carolina. And I would choose to live in certain parts of Florida now that I'm older. Maybe even Texas. But I can't think of any, and I used to want to live in Colorado too. But now that I'm older and stuff, and like I'm saying, we're just dreaming or whatever, those are the states that I would pick to choose to live in. You know, if I had to move or wanted to move or whatever. But I wouldn't pick nothing northern no more. And I used to love the snow and being cold and stuff like that growing up, but no, I would still choose the heat over its worst day than the cold. Now that I'm older and stuff, your perception changes. It's just like when I was younger, and I think a lot of people do this. My daughter's the same way, my youngest daughter. But when I was younger, like a child and stuff growing up, I always dreamed about having a 2-story house. Always wanted to have a 2-story house. Even if I was filthy rich right now, I don't think I would build no 2-story house. I want a 1-level house. I might want a lot of rooms in it, because I don't think you get enough space ever in your house for whatever, you know. You don't ever have enough storage space. But as far as building a 2-story house, I am not willing. Now that I'm out of shape and disabled or whatever, I am not willing to walk up no steps and stuff like that. It's just too hard on you. And it's not worth it in my opinion. But no, like the views and stuff that you get out there in central Kentucky, they're gorgeous. But what I was trying to say is, and sorry I went on and on forever in this video about nothing, like I always do, get off topics or whatever when it was supposed to be a short. But it's kind of like I treat it like it's a vacation or a trip. I don't mind a few days or something, but after a few days I want to come back home. Even if your home's hell or whatever, I'm just a homebody. I like to travel though. It's weird. I'm real antisocial and I'm real homebody like. And I don't like to go, I do like to travel and I do like to go on trips, but I don't like to stay long gone, you know, for long periods of time or nothing. I like to be back shortly and stuff. And even though I love, and I still think it, just like how I think out west is more beautiful than out here, I think the ocean is more beautiful than the mountains, but I would still choose the mountains over the ocean. I think the beach is gorgeous. I love to swim. I'm the type of person I can swim even though I'm not in good shape. I will be out there swimming. If you give me a beach, like an ocean beach, I would be out there swimming from as soon as it's daylight to dark, or even past dark. I would be out there swimming as long as I could, in other words, and stuff. That's just how I am whenever it comes to swimming. And I'm not like an expert swimmer or anything. I just like to float and just like to be in the water and stuff and dip and stuff in the water, and just like to, I don't know, I just like to be in the water. But I'm not like an expert swimmer or nothing either. I'm not a great swimmer at all. I'm actually a bad swimmer. But I would still be out there swimming and stuff. But I wouldn't choose to live in none of those places. Not even if someone told me, hey, tomorrow you can move to the beach or whatever, the beach of your dreams or whatever, for free. I wouldn't move, because, I don't know, it might not make sense to y'all as much as I talk about hating it here and living here. But like I said, I just don't want to be in this area. It's not that I don't want to live here in the mountains or nothing. But it's just, and then too, the mountains in each area of the mountains has their own. I ain't even talked about that, and I ain't going to talk about it because I'm burning up out here. I got to get in the house and I got to do some stuff. But, got to make some phone calls too. But anyways, every area of eastern Kentucky has its own different culture. And that's something too that people don't realize or don't understand until you're living there. And it's so much different from how it is. And it's even different in central Kentucky too, what little bit I visited and stuff too. But it's more, I don't know how to say it. It's more, I might not be using the right word, but it's probably more modernized, like more national culturized a little bit in like central Kentucky and other places than what it is out here in eastern Kentucky and stuff. So I don't know how else to describe it or say it or anything. But I'm gonna get off here because I'm burning up and I need something to drink. I'm thirsting, and I've took too much of y'all's time just going on about nothing, like always. And I don't know if y'all can hear it or not. I do believe that's the cicadas that whole like noises we've been hearing the whole time. Across the creek is where it sounds like they are. I don't know if you heard it or not. But anyways, I'm gonna get off of here and stuff. But don't get me wrong, now if I ever got the opportunity or had the money, I would take trips. I would take vacations of like 2 week spans of times too, like on cruises or something on the ocean, like the Caribbeans and stuff. I'd like to go there. There's other places in the world that I'd like to see, other countries, and it would take time to do it. But I probably wouldn't want to, I don't know, maybe once or twice if I was filthy loaded or something, filthy rich or whatever. I would take like a 2 or 3 month long vacation, but just to get it out of my system. But after that, I'd probably be done for it. I probably wouldn't do that all the time. That's just not me. But let me know in the comments if you guys can relate to what I'm saying at all or whatever. But I'm gonna get off here. I got stuff to do, and I'll talk to you guys later. And if you've watched this video all the way through, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and I'll talk to you guys later. Y'all have a nice day. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.